when we create a new instance, then BI4Dynamics, we can use any of the sources like tabular. Multi-dimensional is going to be phased out, and now we can deploy the whole tabular model as Power BI XML endpoint here. This is the introduction how BI4Dynamics works in the background. Now, here it's a Power BI service where I'm logged in as Power BI user, and the type of the user license is premium per user. And in this environment, we have already deployed one such Power BI instance that I have just shown to you on a Power BI endpoint, and this looks like this. So in this environment, if we connect with Management Studio, we have one workspace where we have published the whole functionality of BI4Dynamics in a tabular mode. So here we have all the dimensional and transactional tables that we have in the model. And aside of this, we have another workspace. It's a testing workspace where users are doing different development exercises in order to support it. Now what we are going to do is I will present myself as a sales manager being in charge of the store managers. Let's say we have 200 stores and I have 20 store managers, which I want to give them one specific view, not the whole model of BI4Dynamics, because for them it's just too much. I just want to give them a part of the model, plus I want to add a part of the external sources which will be done from my end. And I'm just a sales manager with permissions, but I'm not IT. So let's just do this exercise right now. So the exercise will start with a Power BI. And again, I have the permissions here to work with a workspace, because my workspace in here has the places, as I said, Power BI XML endpoint, where we have this data set, we have seen this, and another data set, premium per user test, where there are different other tests. So in order to create my reporting for my department, I will create a new workspace, and I'll just call this workspace BI4Dynamics premium per user department. So let's say this is where all the departments, also other departments, will be able to publish their data, not to the corporate, but to this site here. So in this departments, I'm just going to look into the settings. So it's a premium per user, and what I need to have is this workspace connection here. I'm just taking workspace connection in my space here and just put it in here together with the user ID and password that I will need later. Now this is a starting point for my exercise, and the exercise is going to be in the Power BI here. So I start the exercise by creating a model for my team, and initially I could go directly to a data sets, and you can see this is all that I'm entitled to see, and actually all the models are here sorted out by the workspace. So these are the different workspaces as I've shown before, and I'm not interested in those tests and so on, but I just want to use this one, the XML endpoint. This is the corporate source. But if I would create here as a source, if I do this, okay, then I'm connected with a live connection, and I'm getting all 180 tables. And I kind of don't want to have this experience because it's too much. Of course, I could switch it to direct query and I could delete all this, but that's just not going to be taken very fast. So for that reason, I'm using a very simple trick I'm just going again into the Power BI. We close this part here. And what we are going to do in here is just to create a table, which by default is being treated as a import mode. And because of this, when I'm creating again to my corporate data source, I am now going to use search for a data source. This is the data source, so I have those data sources which are available to my account here. And when I click now this create connection to the data source, I'm automatically in a direct query mode. So how do I know this? I'm being asked which tables I want to add. So instead of all tables, I'm just picking those tables which my sales team is interested in. So I'm going to take sales values. I'm going to take everything from the values and I'm fine. And then I'm going to take a date, a company. I'm going to take, just go up here, let's say bill to customer and maybe items, just to see. I could take any table that I want and I'm loading it. Let me just see if I took a date also. Yeah, I did. So that's what I need. I can add additional tables later. So I make this life for my sales store managers easier because the focus will be only on several tables. And you can see it's creating a direct query to AS, Analysis Services, XML endpoint. Good. Now I don't need this table anymore. So the table that I'm just using to trick the connection is going to be deleted. That's fine. So currently what we have are these tables, and see the model here, it's the model based on my data set, a partial data set from XML. And let's just save this part here, and let's just save this as a sales model with Excel budget for year 2021. So just using the name I was using in the previous steps. Good. Let's create a simple report to do the initial load of data in the Power BI report. So let's just bring in the need sales, and let's just bring in the year to date, just to have something in this exercise like this. Okay, it might be if I have several companies in the focus, I can, let me just check if the companies are many. Okay, there are 2, so I'm just going to focus here on UK as a company. So that's full functionalities in here, UK 2009 here. That's fine. Good. So no need to have a company, and I save this. Now I have everything that my corporate data source offers to me, and now I'm going to add Excel. Now for Excel, I have already prepared this Excel where I have the budget. So if you look into Excel, actually it is a simple list of the dates with the values for the budgets. And if I select this, I load this, I'm able to load the data into my model. And if we look into where the data are, it says sheet number 1, but I'll say, okay, let's just say sales budget UK, and the source is Excel. Okay, we'll just do a little tweaking, not much. We don't want to have the direct column exposure in the model, so I'm just going to say this is the sales budget amount UK. Okay, with a summarize of Excel budget amount like this, which is all I need to do. And I'm just putting some formatting in place like this. And because of this, I would like to hide this from the view, this, and also the date. I don't want to have the date visible because I just want to have one date only here. So sales budget UK, and let's bring the budgets, and it's repeating all cells. So let's just put a date filter into the focus on this page. So let's just work on the 2021 because the budget that we have is only available for 2021. So the budget filter I want to do is and this one, but this one will be only 2021. Okay, like this. Still, this is of course not good because the model is not connected right. So this small table has a date, and my model also has a date here. So let's just connect these two dots together, and just be careful. It offers you a one-to-one connection. You may not have that many rows. This is actually transactional table. I could have this by country, by customer group, by salesperson. So the relationship is always like with other transactional table. Many lines here and one line here. And I'm connecting date to date, not ID, because this is a different type by date, and date should work here. And while after I connect this, just see, now the budgets are connected here. So my exercise in this model is working, and I'm able to publish the data. Let's just save this, and then I'm able to publish the data into the workspace, and I'm not going to publish data into the corporate one because kind of that's not what we would do. This is where IT would do it. But let's say I have a permission to publish data into departments. So I select this and publish the report, which will be of course available to everyone else. But I just take care about the model, and should not be difficult to manage this even if I'm not IT. So let's see what we have here. Wow, the report is here. Let's just do, let's say, a little visual also based on this. Copy, paste, just to have a little more exercise out of this. And just put the graph like this, better like this. Let's publish this again here. So we see everything what we do. We can replace this. Again, report and the data set is going to be replaced. Okay, open it. Again, we have two dots and seeing this is not what work, but we have a reminder saying, hey, you know this? Some gateway is not working. You should fix the gateway part here. So let's go into the workspaces. We'll keep one page for report and one page for a data set. So I'm departments, and in the departments, workspaces, departments, well, I should be in the departments like this, okay? And I see I have a data set and the report. The report is okay, although report is not working because the data set is not providing the data. And why is that? Because the gateway is not there. So let's explain this exercise with the gateway. I have two sources, a corporate source, which is kind of should be okay, and Excel. And I can see the two sources here. The corporate source, it's already in the cloud. Doesn't need to have a gateway because it's already the Power BI dataset. But this one needs to have a gateway. And because I was previously working with Excel, I just have to say, because Excel is the same, I have to map it on my dataset because the Excel was used before. We'll do an exercise where this will be recreated from the scratch. But in this case, that is pretty much all you need to do. It's to create a gateway connection here, and I have it. Okay, so now let's say I'm a store manager and the sales manager provided me with this. So I would, as a store manager, connect to this source, which I'm given access to. So when I'm connected, okay, the name is Power BI user, but now I'm not going to the corporate data source because that's too much. I just want to go to my departmental report, and this is what I'm going to use for my work. And you can see I have the quick data sets. The report I have to create by myself. Let's say sales budget, let's say gross sales, deals, anything that I would do with everything is available to me from what my managers created for me. So this is working fine. Okay, you can see this. And the data that we have for the budgets is for 21. So this is my window of analytics here. Now, here I want to show you what if Excel is not there and what is the steps that we have to do. By the way, I can connect to this source also by Excel. There is no reason why Excel would not support this, because it is also an XML endpoint, means that any tool can connect. So I'm going to use analysis services, and the server name is actually going to be a Power BI workspace, and the permissions that I have to add are going to be aligned with this guy here. Just do this exercise. I'm providing the password. Any front end can connect to this workspace, and the database is published in there. So sales model with Excel budget for the year 2020, that is the name of the model. And here we go and use it in our work. So this is what the user would experience. This is the budget, this is a net sales, this is a year. So let's just go for a calendar year and calendar month. So what you will notice, and I didn't figure out yet, is that hierarchies are not visible here. Now you can see also for the items that I may use or customers, I do not have hierarchy in Excel, while my Power BI is super happy to provide me with also the hierarchies. You can see the hierarchies for the customers, the hierarchies for the date here. So we'll have to look into why the hierarchies are not coming. Is this a feature that will maybe pop up with some settings or so? But we have the data, that is it. Now the second part of exercise is how to add Excel if I have not been working with Excel before. So for that reason, I'm just going to show you that on my desktop I have another Excel, and this Excel is budget for Canada. So this is an Excel which has not any tracking in a gateway or data sources, and I'm just making the data sources like this. So what I'm going to do is let's just go back to my model, Excel budget with the year for 2020, where I'm adding another Excel. So the exercise in Power BI is pretty much simple. It's the same. We have to add this. We'll take the data into the model. Just the same exercise we have to do like before. We will do it. There is no shortcut. So the name here will be sales budget Canada for from Excel, and the measures that we are going to have, this measure is just going to be a source for this column, is going to be a source for new measure. Let me just do this real quick. Sales amount, sales budget amount, equals sum of something with Canada, like this. This is the easiest way to come around, and I'll confirm. Okay. Okay, so let's just put this little space and just bring it into the picture here. Okay, not right, and see how it works in here. Okay, not right yet because it gives the full size of the data, because the data are not connected here. It's not connected right here. So let's just do this exercise once again. Again, sales budget Canada. Usually I just take drag and drop because I don't look for the right field, because it might take too much effort to find one. It's easier to find it like here. So again, date with the date here and man it one. We know this already. And after setting up, this should work. So the exercise here is pretty much, and all the things that one would have to do in the modeling would be, or the majority is do the modeling in the Power BI here. Now I save, and when I publish, I just want to replace my plan because my team is the same. I just added more data for those guys in Canada, and that's just fine, right? So let's just open this again, and the report will not show. So we know what to do, and we go to the models here. Actually, go here into the models. So we have same Excel as a report and Power BI report and data set, where we go into the settings. Okay, we look into the gateways. Here it says previously it was green and saying, it's not a problem, just pick it up. And now what you notice, I have 3 sources. Let's start with the one which is already known to us. It's analysis services. This is an XMLA endpoint, the corporate source. It is already in the Azure, in the Power BI service, so I don't need to set it up. Now, sales budget PPU is the UK plan, which is already connected. So I don't have a problem with this. The problem why the report is not working because the third data source is not connected. This is first time exercise, so I have to add it to the gateway. With this exercise, I'm just adding a gateway and just writing the name Excel file from Canada. Okay, whatever I would put it. And the connection here is Windows, because I'm accessing this locally, and I'm connecting this as a file, and it gives me already the connection. There is no option Excel. Don't search for the option Excel here. You will not find. You are connected as a file here. Okay, and let's see now. Okay, now I was adding this data source to the gateway and in the previous step, and connecting this data source from the gateway in my settings of the workspace. So this is all you have to know if you are starting something from scratch. Let's just see this exercise now. You see? Now I have added also the second data source. So yeah, a little longer exercise, but still in half hour we have spent a lot of this part here. What I want to show you more is something really interesting that you get when you are having the Power BI. And the one part is very visual, is lineage. And here you can see that our model for my department has 3 sources. This one is a Power BI data set. That's why it's in this color. And it's a corporate data source, which I took 5 tables. And then I added 2 data sources. These are 2 Excels. And it just says which gateway is supporting this data source. In case something goes wrong, that would be the way to go for troubleshooting. But this one is live, so this is a live connection. This just says I'm having this report from this data source. So this is one thing. And then there is another thing on a data source is the refresh. Now, if you know when we are saying what is the difference between the Pro edition and the Premium edition, I just go into my report here, is that the Pro Edition refresh rate is 8 times a day, and this is 24 times a day. Apart from the model size and other features, we're just focusing on the refresh part here. So how do I do this? I'm in the data set, where my data set, this is gateway, the refresh history, schedule refresh. So I can schedule refresh, and it says daily. So it doesn't says, every 30 minutes or so. Well, unfortunately, you will have to add, let's say 48 times, where I want to do it at 10 a.m., then at 10:30 a.m., and then at 11, if I want to do it every half an hour in the morning time or so. So that would be the exercise to do, which would trigger the refreshing of the data in this case. Okay, so this is 24 times the refresh. But let's see the data from Power BI, where I'm a manager, store manager. This is still a report where I want to check the refreshments of the data. So here I should also have the data from Canada now. Okay, let me see if I get this. Yes, I do. This is what we added. Okay, so I have also their budgets. And let me just bring also filter here year. So this again has all the nice hierarchies, which I do not have. So let's just put it into the basic filter area for 21, just to have a focus. Now let's change the plan in Canada to see how this changes in the model. So the change in the model is here. Let's just put 700,000 for all of the periods. Okay, let's say that's the beauty of this. I refresh my budget here, and then I go into the model, where in the workspace, excuse me for running all away, I have to do this, refresh now. So now it's refreshing the data sources, and whether I'm checking this in my report in Power BI here, or as a consumer from my desktop, I should see this very soon, updated budgets, 700. So the beauty of this is now, this is what I was planning to show, is that we can truly experience what Microsoft is preaching, is that with the Power BI, this becomes as a superset of Azure analysis services, and as part of the Power BI, our users get the benefit of everything that is in the Power BI. One thing being having the workspace and republishing this again and again as many times as we want, because the capacity is there, no wonder about that. And another thing, what I showed you as a sales manager doing a minor model for my team, is a convergence. This is Microsoft, I didn't write this, of IT managed workloads or corporate BI with a self-service BI, because I was adding my budget, do some mashup which with the current data, I could do it as much as I want and publish it back into the IT managed environment, but in a space where I will not harm anyone and still provide my team with information just which we want. So this is kind of really very cool, because all this comes as a price that we already know, $20 per user, which is a really good offering from Microsoft. So this was my part. Do you have any questions or comment? Please go ahead.
Lalit, how about the licensing? The role permissions.
Well, the permissions are set up in Power BI. So the permissions are not set in analysis services in Management Studio, or that BI4Dynamics would bring it. That is the part where the row level security is set up from the Power BI. I have to study where it is, and it is in the Power BI. It's a standard part of the Power BI settings permissions. Do you think that our customers will have, you see, so what is here important is one role is IT. IT will take care about the corporate data warehouse model and will talk to us when they'll need to have additional requests for something, performance troubleshooting, training, general, and so on. And then you will have advanced users, super users. In every company there are some. The larger organization, more you will have. So they will be entitled to do this exercise which I was showing to you. So they are able to take a part of the data source from the corporate. This is the data source that we provide in BI4Dynamics, and bring any other source into their Power BI. So we don't have to train them this part. This is a Power BI. They can, apply for a course on the internet. There are many, or they may already know this modeling exercise. BI4Dynamics is not, involved in terms of the Power BI modeling within the Power BI, and they can just publish it back to the source. So do you think there will be such customers? Because I believe there will be who will be able to do this. Now, some of the customers I know for sure they were kind of missing this flexibility, and with the direct query in analysis services itself on the Azure, that was the first part when you could create all these models in the Power BI. So previously, if I have Azure Analysis Services, I can do the same exercise, but I cannot publish back to the Azure Analysis Services. I can only share with my team Power BI report, because if you remember, the model is in the report. With Power BI service, premium per user, I publish my model, which I created, as if I would do with analysis services as a source, Azure Analysis Services, back to Power BI dataset. And I give the users not my Power BI, which I would have to send each time when I'm changing the model, but I'm just giving them access to a workspace. And with this workspace, they are always up to date with the model and also with the report. So that is the beauty of having the premium per user compared to the Azure Analysis Services, which we have shown in November. It was related to October release of Power BI, with the first step in this direct query mode opposed to the live connection. So this is even better because you can publish back the data set.